There's 3 sheets today.
Is there any other alternative?
2 sheets. So one each. If you walk down the front and give them one of those, Suzanne will take one.
How you been?
I haven't had that.
Right. That's the piece of
With my
job creation,
patent premise,
property taxes, long-term benefit is hard for me.
Right.
I'm not an economist. I can't put
Mooch, if you,
Thanks, Greg. What is it worth to have 21 new jobs in?
This here? No, that
Right.
one.
It's going to last for at least 15
For these
years.
2?
Right.
Those are Randy's.
But it's worth something, just because, you know, presumably a lot of those jobs go to people who live here. And they're going to pay taxes. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is valuable.
Then we can extrapolate that all out.
Yeah, I don't have any way of evaluating it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Came from. But all that was sitting there. I don't know.
Randy said he put all his up here.
I'm good, Lee. How
So
are you?
what's that big stack right in front of him?
Doug Garner.
Made it. We're working overtime.
Well, that's, I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or not. Okay, well, thank you. Not going to happen, but yeah, it's a nice thought. Yeah. Right.
Randy said he put all his up there. How come up here on the back?
Love the person.
He said, that's yours.
Again, they all stick together no matter what. That's what I like.
Yeah, well, that's why they call them the other half. Yeah, well, the boys just going to start their ball state.
How's it going?
No, I'm
Things are going well for the Blondells. Yeah, he just left
Some resources.
from training in Montana.
He's gonna be a Bronco rider.
Something similar.
Yeah, who knows? I'll let you know when he gets back. Might be joining. Nice to meet you. Might not come back. That's right.
You guys ready, Paul?
How you doing, Wayne?
All right, we'll call to order City of Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for August 7th, 2017. Could I get a roll call, please?
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Member Alan Calloway.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Doug Garner.
Here.
Utility Director Owen Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, any announcements? I don't have any for this particular meeting. You guys got anything?
I don't.
Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. So moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
I had passed out the run totals for July. We had 44 total runs. With the totals, I put another form on the back. It kind of explains each call, gives the narrative. So you guys, if you want to read through it, you can read through and see what's going on. Also, I want to remind everybody that next week, August 19th, is a fire truck pull down here in town. So other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the guys tonight went to the World Police Car Games in Los Angeles. The other guy's leaving, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. They will represent the city well, and hopefully they'll bring back some medals. So I think it's really good that the guys will go up there and do that for us. We are hosting a K9 training seminar in September, the 25th through the 28th. We're going to have approximately 25 teams down here in Lawrenceburg. We have Wagner Hall. My K9-1 guy, Jacob, is going to be heading this up. So that's going to be good training and a seminar for the other fellow K9 people. So everybody's welcome to go down there and see what they do.
Good.
That's all I have there.
All right, EMS Director Bobby Mills.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Okay. New business, I don't have anything for tonight. Under old business, it looks like, Mr. Clark, we had a bid opening in the Ratliff Landing dredging project. Question I have is, how many did we get as far as returns on the,
We had two that were qualified to bid it, that went to the mandatory pre-bid, and we received one bid.
one bid for the dredging?
Yes.
Okay, here's what I would recommend, and it's up to you guys, but your vote. I would recommend that we rebid this, we didn't open the bid, right?
Not yet.
Okay. No opening of the bid, in fairness to the folks that bid it. We would rebid it, and they would have an opportunity to rebid as well, right? I mean, we would get their bid back to them, and they would have an opportunity to rebid as well. A project this size, I think, if we don't, then we're sort of stuck with the number we got.
I have one question. Is there a chance that, I mean, I don't know that much about it, but is there a chance that we could look at a diverter wall down there to move that away from the, once we dredge it, that we could move that away to the other side of the creek to get it away from the landing?
You can take it if you want.
Well, of course, that's going to take engineering and Corps permit to allow that to happen, which is probably months out if we're going to apply for something of that nature.
Well, I doubt that IDNR or the Corps would allow a diversion, because it would have to almost be a diversion dike or a jetty. I doubt that they would allow it in that stream right there. This, per our engineers, is the best design for us to open it up and clean it out. One of the problems is that the original bank, prior to Markland Dam going into effect, is still out there, covered up with water. When they built the second ramp, they could only reach out so far, and that original bank, along with tree stumps, is still a couple feet underwater. The thought is that that's what is helping catch and trap some of the silt buildup, and that if we remove that, it'll open it up to where hopefully it'll keep itself clean, or even possibly clean itself.
I think we got two issues. I think we gotta clean it out, because it needs cleaned out, right?
But it's unusable right now.
But we need and somebody to figure out what it's gonna take to fix it, to do the best we can to fix it.
So in saying that more, what you're saying is, instead of going out for a bid, are you wanting to get some expert advice in here first and then go out, or?
Well, I'm okay with getting the dredging done, but I'm not, I mean, because it has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we do need that expert advice to give us an idea of what we're gonna have to do to get this fixed, and what kind of permitting it would take.
Yeah.
We are looking at a long-term process with that.
So
But I think that person could also consult with us as far as while the dredging's being done.
And there again, just one other comment. We did get an expert's advice. We got someone this actually falls under the landfill category because of the dredging material and debris. We got someone that is well-versed in that area and has experience in dredging projects. Now, you can always find someone else, but we do have an expert that helped do this design.
But who did do the design?
This was a William Strachan with ATC and Associates. The closest project he worked on was the used to be Pier 50 Marina, the marina down in Aurora. They did that, what, 2 years ago? So I'm not sure when you say an expert's of advice or opinion, we can continue to reach out to somebody new constantly.
Well, I mean, listen, we certainly don't know what's under there or anything. But I'm just saying that, I mean, I think there's two parts of it. One is the dredging to try and be able to at least use this thing. And then the other is to try to figure out what it's going to take to keep it usable, right?
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but I still feel like, I mean, we need more than one bid for a job this size, because if we don't, we're stuck with a number. And
Just curious, again, I don't know that much about the whole thing, but are we talking about just dredging the ramp itself, or are we planning on trying to dredge upstream a little bit to keep it, flatten it out
There's
to keep it?
two areas, Mooch, that we have indicated on the plans after we had the underwater survey done. And it's an area on both sides of the new ramp and everything in the middle, and then we move downstream a little bit to the area at the old ramp also.
yeah, that's the areas I've heard from the people that are down there that are problem areas, but. Okay. All right.
What about the people doing it? Are they dredgers or, I mean, when I think of dredging, I think of somebody bringing a barge in and a big hose, bringing the muck out and putting it up there. I mean, how are we talking about what's,
Well, I'm sure.
up and down this river, there ought to be people that we can get interested.
I think we had
I'm all
four.
right with the engineering we've done on it, but I sure would like to serve some experts to even do the work.
There again, the process for this project, and this all went through the permitting to get it through.
Right.
Is a long stick hoe using construction mats to put out in front of it, where you'll have the long stick that'll load into trucks with sealed tailgates, but they'll also put these construction mats out in the water so they can track out further in the water, so they can reach the designated areas.
Out in the channel.
Yes. And Paul, we did originally contact, well, it was Aquarius. I think they've changed their name a couple times. And their problem, they said to have because we first wanted to look at, a barge and a hydraulic dredge and that, which IDNR was not as happy with that process as they are with this one for whatever reason. But,
Well, we're somewhat limited on the height coming underneath two bridges to get back there.
yeah, and Aquarius said they sold their small unit, and the other unit that they had that could possibly do it was in South America or something else. I mean, that was one of the biggest companies that we contacted. And we did reach out to a couple more that said they were interested earlier on, and they just, I don't know if their workload didn't allow, but they didn't get back with us.
Who did Pier 50s?
That was Woody Bucher, I believe.
Okay. Okay. All right.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any type of a guarantee with, that next year we're not going to be doing this again?
There is no guarantee that it will not re-sealed in. And you're not going to get that from anyone, unfortunately.
This is something that hadn't been done for a while, right?
We did one dredging, but it was just with a hoe from the bank to what they could reach, and that was it.
Okay.
When we did, right after we did the project, we did this, but we have not done a project of this magnitude down at that area. And there again, I cannot give you any guarantees. The only thing we can go by is engineering practices and the engineer's recommendations. That's,
Well, how soon could you get this re-advertised?
actually, tomorrow morning is the deadline for Thursday's paper. And if I get it in Thursday's paper to start the process, we could have the process ready to open up the first meeting in September.
Well, along with that, I think it's going to be, we're going to have to do some identification of more companies. To at least, I mean, get some interest. I mean, we can't make people bid on it. I mean, I understand that, of course, but a job this size and a number this big, whatever that number's going to be, I just think we need to have a little bit to choose from.
And I think we should be all right, but I'm going to also have to double check the dates for the permit that we currently hold, but I think we should still be all right.
Okay, all right.
Would it change the job much, Mike, if we could get a flat bottom barge in there to get the hoe out on it in the creek to where it would do a better job?
Paul, I hate to say it, but I really can't answer that question. It's the permit, though, all the dredging material has to stay on site. And in this project, we do have an area off to the west side of the parking lot that we have a containment dike to be built and house all that material.
Okay. So, what do you guys think?
I'd like to make a motion that we request to go out for some
Rebid?
rebid and people in the business, try to recruit.
Okay. So the motion is we need to rebid the job, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, second? All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Any other old business, guys?
No, I don't have
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
it. Motion?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you. Parks and Playgrounds, as soon as we're seated.
Yeah, and the only question I gotta ask is, can we give him back his bid, or do we need to send it certified mail to prove that we got it?
You okay with taking it, you okay, Mr. Seaver? You okay with taking it tonight? Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike, it'll be in Thursday's paper again then.
I have no idea.
Okay, anybody up here? All right, I'll call to order the Lawrenceburg Parks and Playgrounds meeting for August 7th, 2017. Roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Attorney Doug Gardner.
Here.
Utility Director Owen Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay. Any announcements? I don't have any regarding parks or playgrounds. Anybody up here have anything to announce?
I just had one question. You received the email about the lady, from the lady about the dog park questions. You were,
Way back about a month ago or
yeah.
so?
I was wondering if that stuff was taken care of, or.
I believe so. We were talking about the lighting, I think, was down there, was.
Yeah,
she brought up
I
the
meant to
lighting.
bring it, but yeah.
Check all the lights were on. And then the shelters and on the sidewalk.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't had them address
Okay,
that the next
yeah.
day.
I haven't heard them while I
I'm
was
assuming
gone.
it was,
Okay.
I haven't heard back from her,
I
haven't
haven't
seen an
either.
email, so.
Yeah, okay.
I'm assuming it was taken care of. Thanks, anything else?
No, that's it.
Anybody down here?
I only got one thing under parks I want to bring up.
Sure.
When we had all our stumps ground,
Yes.
the way I understand it, we've had a lawnmower damaged, and I'd kind of like for somebody, I don't know whether we asked him to dig them 6 inches below ground or level or what we did, but we definitely need to get him back to get that to where we can get a little topsoil on the stumps to where we do not spend a whole lot of money, and Mario might know what I'm.
Yes.
Up on the hill, I guess there was a couple stumps that we believe it did not get ground all the way to below surface level. There was a lot more damage, I believe it was $320 damage. I think that contractor is gonna make that, correct that.
He'll come back and do the stumps. and
Well, our
stuff.
parks foreman is supposed to start marking and flagging those stumps, identify them, and they will be back.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes, previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Any new business for this meeting? Any old business? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Next meeting. Call to order would be the Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting for August 7th, 2017. Could I get a roll call, please?
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Attorney Doug Gardner.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
All right. Any announcements?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've got one committee report this evening, and let Mike Harper, if he'll take the lectern, let him give the report.
Thank you, Director Clausen. My name is Mike Harper. Work for the Electric Department. It was brought to our attention a couple weeks ago by the Utility Service Board that the lights at Scudder Circle were not being maintained or taken care of, or it was dim down there. And after researching, we found out that the lights needed to have service agreements attached to them. So now that has all been taken care of, and we're either going to change the lights out, put LEDs in, or just maintenance them, seeing whatever it needs. And then, as we're talking about security lights, around town, you guys have seen ribbons on any of the light poles around town. Well, those ribbons are lights that are indicated that they're out right now. And we are also replacing them with LEDs as well. And that's all I have.
So the ones down at the property we're talking about, Mike, we didn't own those.
No, we did not own those. That's a private property, private drive.
Okay.
And we're not obligated to light those areas. They were just lit.
But the owner is willing to...
They've already taken care of everything they had to take care of.
Good, good.
Yeah, the owner came in, I want to say Thursday of last week, and initiated a service agreement, rental agreement for each one of those lights, and I think it was in total about $109 or something like
Yeah.
that.
It was minimal.
So now we are responsible for those lights and the maintenance of those lights and the upkeep, and we'll take care of them as they need fixed.
Okay, great.
I'd like to point out that I believe, Mike, me and you met the next day.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate the quick response, taking care of them. There's just a few worried people down there, dark area. Good job.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Thanks, Mike. That concludes my committee reports, Your Honor.
Okay, under new business, Mr. Tommy Roulette. Topic is nepotism.
Thank you, Mayor. For the record, my name is Thomas L. Roulette Sr. Tonight, I'm here to look into what I believe could possibly be nepotism. From reviewing the tape of the July 3rd meeting, I believe it was questioned, and it was brought up that, yes, an individual's son-in-law, I believe, was hired. First and foremost, I would like to say that I would hope that there would not be any repercussion here today for me, because I do work for a entity that the board, some people will set on. So, just to get that out there. One thing I would like to state right off the bat too is, we all are aware that the city of Lawrenceburg has always been an equal opportunity employer, correct? I mean, that's what we've always, even when I was in city government. Now, with this nepotism, and I'm not going to go into the code, but from what I gather, under Indiana Code 36-1-20.2-4, Section 4, letter A, that I believe that there very well could be nepotism, because the individual that sits on this board did sign the union contract, and that individual that was hired will be under that union contract. And it goes to state as far as grievances and things of that, promotions and stuff. Now, with that being said, what I would like to ask is a few questions here, and I'm sure they've been done, but just for clarification. First of all, it was put up per the CBA as a job bid throughout the city, correct? You did have it put up where?
That's correct.
I'm looking at Mr. Clausen just because it's in the utility
fine.
department.
That's correct.
So did you have anyone in the city of Lawrenceburg bid on said job?
I did not.
No one in the city bid?
I did not.
So after that, you probably ran it in our local or the Cincinnati Enquirer as far as an advertisement for the position?
No, actually, we didn't.
Okay. How did said person be aware of said job if it wasn't advertised?
Well, there was a job that was advertised, two jobs.
That job would have been,
It would have been the laborer's position within the city,
okay.
and we had, I want to say, 100 and some applicants for that position. And so we went through a very rigorous vetting process for the positions. Now, those positions, if you understand, or if you're part of the process, when we were given the applications for these positions, there was no discerning information on those applications as to who these individuals were, male, female, where they lived, where they worked. It was strictly just a work history of those individuals. So we reviewed those applications, and out of those applications, we were to select 20 people. And Paul and the others that were part of the process can attest, I came in with 4 applicants that I thought were the best of the 100-some-odd applicants. 87 applicants. Only one of those individuals ultimately was a same individual or similar individual as the other committee members. In their explanation of those choices, they felt that for the laborer's position, it required a certain type of employee. I disagreed with that. I wanted to hire the most capable employee for the position. And so through the process and early on, I asked the HR director as well as the rest of the committee if it would be appropriate, since we had all these applicants, for me to pull from one of those applicants for the position that ultimately I was going to advertise for, provided that nobody within the city signed the bid. Nobody thought that would be a problem. In fact, we were talking with most of the applicants that we were going to keep their application on file, and if other things opened up in the city, that would it be okay if we used your application for those positions? So it was, by everyone's assessment, including my own, it was a practical approach to saving the city what sometimes can be as much as a $12,000 cost to advertise for a job. To advertise, and I've got documentation of it, to advertise for one day in the Cincinnati Enquirer is typically around $5,000. So if I've got 80-some applicants who we've thoroughly vetted, who are people in and about the community and elsewhere, that are good employees, it seemed to me that it made sense to save that additional cost and pull from those same applicants, especially considering that we had talked with these applicants and told them, if you're not selected, we'll keep your application on file. is it okay if we reach back out to you for other positions that might become available? So once the application went through its process within the city, and nobody signed the bid, we took those 4 applicants, and the best applicant out of that group was hired into the city. That decision was not, I never consulted Paul on that decision. I never presented Paul with the information that who these applicants were. I did consult with Mike Harper about that, got his input on it, but that's the extent of who was involved in the selection process.
Okay, so you're basically telling me that you took it upon yourself to hire this individual. No board member was involved in this at all? There was no interview process with board members? Because you stated early on...
There was an interview process, but...
That was Board of Works, it sounds like to me, if it was Civil City. There was interview, if you pulled applications from prior interviewing, which you said was Board of Works, it was a Civil City job, that would be Civil Board of Works looking at them applications.
I reviewed those applications myself. I myself am the only person that hires or fires within the utility.
Correct.
I don't ask for permission. I don't ask for their blessing. I hire and do the hiring, I do the firing. I present them as a courtesy with who I've hired.
Things have changed, because when I was in city government, the utility board or the Board of Works was always involved in the process. Now, I don't know what's happened over the years, but that's irrelevant. My whole thing here is, so you yourself came up with this individual as the best qualified individual for that position,
Absolutely.
and they had some kind of electrical background.
No, it's an entry-level position, so there doesn't have to be any formal training, but I still selected the best employee out of the group.
Okay. Now, once that process was done, and you, I'm sure, told everyone amongst this utility board that that individual is who you wanted, no one looked at you and said, this could be a problem?
Very hard.
You know, they may have said that, not understanding what the process was behind the scene. But from a legal standpoint, no, it's not a problem for the city. It's not an exposure for the utilities or for the city. It is my assessment that we are well within our bounds, legally and otherwise, to do exactly what we did.
Well, I sort of disagree with that, because if it clearly states under that article on nepotism, the individual that we're speaking of, they have their signature on the union contract as a Board of Works member and a utility board member. So that, some people call them tomatoes, some call them tomatoes. In my opinion, this really looks like nepotism until someone tell me something different. I could sit here all night long and we could dispute this, but...
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, Tommy. Why don't we do this, if this is agreeable to everybody that's involved? If we'll get a legal opinion, a third-party legal opinion to come in to the next meeting, if that's acceptable to everybody, to come in and give an opinion on this, rather than, you're right, you got your reasons, and Mr. Clausen's got his, and why don't we just settle it? And we'll get somebody, if that's acceptable to everybody. I don't know how you feel.
It's acceptable to me, but, you've got to realize there's people out there that once they find out this out, and they're thinking, my Lord, I put in an application, and I didn't get a chance, but this, as Dana said, this good old buddy system keeps going around, it doesn't look good. I mean, there again, as I stated, I don't know, and I'm sorry, as a utility board member, if that would have come before me, I'd say, no.
Mm-hmm.
This can't happen.
Tommy, when you're done tonight, I'd like you to ask all your questions, and then this is about me, so I'd like a chance to respond.
Excuse me, this is not about you. This is about setting a precedent that does not need to be set in this city.
Hey, Tommy, and I apologize, but we have a public hearing scheduled at 6:30. I just got to take a recess. We'll come right back to this, though.
Oh, you need to, I wasn't finished, though.
I know, that's what I'm saying, though. By law, by statute, we got to recess. It's 6:30. We got to recess for this public hearing. It won't take but 5 minutes, and we'll come right back to this topic.
Okay.
Okay?
I've never seen it happen before.
Take a break, Tom.
It was in the newspaper and everything. We got to do what's said. By statute, Ms. Susan Craig, we'll recess this utility board meeting and then come back to it after we get done with the public hearing.
Good evening, everyone. I am here for the city and the Dearborn Adult Center. The city is applying for a grant on behalf of the Dearborn Adult Center to get funding from the Office of Community and Rural Affairs to rehabilitate the facility. Judy and I participated in a site visit today. We're working on the application. The reason that I'm here tonight is to answer any questions about the project or to record any comments for the public record about the project. As I said, basically it's a rehabilitation project. There are just the building is over 20 years old and there are some things that need to be done. Applying for $360,000. That will be matched by $40,000, $20,000 of that, which is the Community Foundation, has put funding into that. The application is due September 1st. At this point in time, does anyone have any questions or have any comments? Judy has been distributing a sign-in sheet. If you haven't signed, I would ask you to please make sure you sign it for the record. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I know we got a grant department, and they've been a part of helping you.
I'm sorry?
I know that the city has put a grant department in place.
Yeah, Paul,
We've been helping and assisting you in this process.
Yeah, Judy's been involved.
I've been working with
Yeah.
Judy. Yes, Judy and I have been working very closely together on this.
Okay. All right.
Yes. This particular grant is a specialized grant that you have to have a certification, a special certification, to actually submit it. So yeah, we've been working very, very closely together.
Good.
I do have a resolution that I would like to present for your consideration, and basically all this is a resolution that is authorizing the city to apply for the grant as well as committing the local match of $40,000. This is a boilerplate resolution. I can read it if you like, but basically that's what it does.
We'll probably, Susan, I think we'll get our attorney to read it aloud, and then we can vote on it, if that's acceptable.
Ready? Yeah. Resolution authorizing application, submission, and local match commitment. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, authorizing the submittal of the PFP application to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs and addressing related matters. Whereas the City Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana recognizes the need to stimulate growth and to maintain a sound economy within its corporate limits, and whereas the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended authorizes the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs to provide grants to local units of government to meet the housing and community development needs of low and moderate income persons, and whereas the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana has conducted or will conduct public hearings prior to the submission of an application to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, said public hearings to assess the housing, public facilities, and economic needs of its low and moderate income residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, that 1, the mayor is authorized to prepare and submit an application for grant funding to address the rehabilitation of the Dearborn Adult Center and to execute and administer a resultant grant, including requisite general administration and project management, contracts and agreements pursuant to regulations of the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs and the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. 2, the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana hereby commits the requisite local funds in the amount of $40,000 in the form of Dearborn Adult Center funds and the Dearborn County Community Foundation as matching funds for said program. Such commitment to be contingent upon receipt of PFP funding from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, adopted by the City Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, the 7th day of August, 2017, 6:30 PM Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. Any questions up here before we entertain a motion to move forward with this grant?
One question, how long does this process take? How much time?
Okay, so we would submit the full application on September 1st. We would know something probably in November.
Okay.
And then there's a process where all of the, like the contract has to be executed and all this stuff. It has to be completed in
Okay.
And if we don't get selected the first time out, we can resubmit as well
the spring.
in the spring. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's not uncommon sometimes for projects.
Any other questions? If you don't ask, you can't get it, right? That's the way I look at it. Anyway, I'll entertain a motion to approve this resolution if so be.
Should we vote on this?
This will help us move forward. Second?
I think I'm going to have to abstain since I'm on the board for the Adult Center.
Okay.
I think I shall also on the board.
You have to. also.
Yeah, he works for him.
We have 3 abstentions.
Well, we need to change that. They left the vote.
You got you, Mel, and the mayor.
I'd like to make a motion that we move
I've
forward.
already made it, you need to second it.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye. Aye.
Roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott,
Abstain.
member Aaron Cook,
Abstain.
member Mel Davis,
Yes.
member Randy Abner,
Abstain.
and member Paul Seymour Jr.
Yes.
And President Kelly Malone.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm after anybody's money but our own. So, thank you. Anything else you need from us
You
tonight?
want me to just get that later? or do you
Yeah,
guys
we need to
wanna-
keep it, Tyler's in charge of the resolutions. So we're going to have to get with him after it gets signed.
There weren't names.
We don't lose track of the
Okay.
There weren't no
paperwork.
votes.
I will just need a
Just
copy.
abstention, say still had a majority.
You'll need the original? Okay.
We just need a copy, Tyler.
Yeah, Judy can make a copy for you here, and then you can take the original, and then she can bring the copy back or whatever. Thanks.
That'll work.
Thanks.
And I have one more thing. This just is a memo that allows me to record minutes for the hearing.
Oh.
And it has to be authorized.
There you go. Thanks, Susan. Thanks for your help.
Can we get a copy too? Thanks.
No other questions? Okay, we'll call back to order the utility board meeting for August 7th, 2017.
Tommy.
We lost Mr. Roulette.
He's out.
He's right there outside the door.
Okay. You're up, sir.
Back on.
Mr. Roulette, I would like to state one thing for you, so you better understand this. There is a hiring board that was appointed. The mayor, it's got 2 city council members, it's got the union member on it.
Two union members who are on
2
it.
union members on it, and that's how they're doing the hiring. It's not Board of Works or Utility Board. It's this board that's appointed to sit on it and go through the applications.
And I appreciate your input into that, but I'm telling you, as a utility board member, if someone came to me and says, we're going to hire so-and-so, I would look at them and say, not on my watch.
Well, there was
I'm not doing it.
There was
And you know
questions
where I'm
asked,
coming
there was
from with that.
questions asked, but then there's also the thing in those code that says about direct supervision.
Okay, and
So,
that's fine. I agree with what you guys are saying, you agree with what I'm saying.
I
Okay,
agree both ways.
correct. Well,
Tommy, let me ask you this. You got some additional questions then?
the only thing that I have that I'm going to close with, I guess I could say, is if it's not nepotism, it is very unethical for this to happen. And last but not least, is for the comment that you made at the end of that meeting about him being the best hire in the last 20 years. Well, let me tell you something. I was part of the hiring process in them 20 years. I see police officers around here and others that work in the city that I helped hire, and I don't think that was a very good thing to say about those individuals. In fact, I really think if you're the person that you are, and I know you are, that you would actually apologize for saying something like that, because that was way out of line. To say that that individual is the best hire in the last 20 years. This individual just started and you're thinking they're up here or the rest are down here. I mean, yeah. And that's all I really have.
Okay, before I let, Paul, I think, wants to respond, which I'll give him that chance. But you available to come back the next council meeting we have to?
So you're going to address this in a council meeting, not a utility?
I mean utility board. Next utility board.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I'm sorry.
Sure, I would like to come back, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but,
Well,
I just...
If it's illegal, it does.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, but if it was legal, then we're fine.
Sure.
But I just want to offer that up.
I greatly appreciate that.
Okay.
I think anybody and everybody that would hear that would greatly appreciate that you are taking that step to do that.
I'm ready to do it. We'll do it. Yep. Okay. All right. Mr. Seymour?
Yeah, I'd like to say, first off, I appreciate you coming in, believe it or not. I've been hearing this for 2-3 weeks, and I'll tell you exactly, step by step, how the process started. First off, Tommy, I think I got elected to make hard decisions. When we knew we were going to hire 2 people, 2 laborers, I jumped right on board, because part of the reason why I ran for council is because we needed to hire good people, and I knew that. We've been having a lot of people retire, and we need good people. And I know good people. I've been around, I've done a lot of work, and I know good working people. I might not know much about secretaries and different stuff like that, but I do know good people. So I jumped in there, and I decided that I'm going to make this decision. What I didn't know was that Travis was going to want to apply. When he told me he wanted to apply, my words were, I won't be able to help you, but I wish you luck. That's exactly what I told him. You need to toughen up. Don't be hurt if you don't get hired. You're fine, don't be hurt. One of the first things I did was we never interviewed people. We interviewed 1 through 87, and Randy and Owen can vouch for that. They were on the committee along with Jenny, Hoggy, and Carl. There were 6 of us. First thing I did was I took Travis's application because, believe it or not, it wasn't hard to figure out. He'd worked for Seymour General Contracting for 9 years. I said, guys, here's an application right here. I'm going to give it to Jenny. I will not be voting for him. I did not tell anybody in the room what number he was. I'm sure they probably knew, but that's the way I handled it. I said, Jenny, I will not be voting for him. Matter of fact, that night, we were going to take and decided we were going to pick 20 out of the 87 that we were going to interview. I told him, I said, we're picking 20. We sat down in a meeting, we read off numbers, and I believe we went with the people that got 3 votes.
Right, I think.
People that got 3 votes were going to be the 20 people.
3 or higher.
They're going to be the 20 interviewed people. So I got exactly 4 people out of that 20 right. I didn't do very good. Didn't hit the mark at all.
Better than I did.
Those 4 people, what I told them that night, I said, if Travis is picked out of those 4 people, I will not participate in the interviewing process, and I will not vote in the hiring of him. He didn't get picked out of those 4 people. We went on, we hired 2 good people. So as far as the hiring process, I doubt if it's been done any fair in the start of it. I just don't see how it could be. However, it ended, he calls Travis, and I'll tell you what the boy has done to get hired. And here's what I have done. What I have done, and Mario and Mike can vouch to this, I don't do Lawrenceburg City projects anymore because I thought it could be a conflict. All that boy ever did was work hard in this town on any projects that the city of Lawrenceburg has ever gave him, and this guy noticed it. He just hired a good fella. Shame on him for doing that. We had...
Don't say that, Paul.
No.
No, you do not need to put it that way. You're trying to sugarcoat, and it's not working with me. I am not 15 years old or 20 years old. You're trying to make this look like there's nothing wrong here. You're not...
There isn't, Tommy, and we're not going to get anywhere, so I'll wait on the lawyer. You know, if there's something wrong, that's fine.
How could you subconsciously or consciously lay your head down at night knowing that this was not going to be brought up?
I personally don't care. I didn't do anything wrong.
So you're showing me,
I'm one guy
you're showing
out of
me
6. I'm
that
one
you
guy
really
out of-
don't have the best interest of the city of Lawrenceburg at hand. That's
Oh,
what
my
you're showing me.
Okay, hey, Tommy, so we're
There you are.
gonna do, we're gonna do what we said we're gonna do. We'll have somebody here, the 21st is, I believe, the next utility board meeting, correct? That's correct. And we'll get an answer to this and take care of it.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor, can
I
ask
still didn't hear that
Yeah, I'm
apology,
sorry,
though.
sorry.
I'm not going to make an apology because here's what I meant. And I don't know what I said. One of the best people we've hired in 20 years, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that, because I know him. Maybe he is the best. I don't know that, but I know one thing for sure. They just hired one hell of a person, and I lost one. I'm not apologizing to anybody.
Aaron?
I was going to ask, do we advertise those in the Cincinnati Enquirer? Not these, but do we usually?
Generally, when I advertise for jobs, we usually spend, like I say, sometimes upwards of $10,000, $12,000 advertising in public.
I would rather not advertise in the Enquirer. I'd rather keep it local. I don't know if we usually do it or not.
Usually do. It just depends. You know, bear in mind, we had a meter tech 1 position we tried to get applicants for on 2 occasions. Didn't get anybody qualified. And so the fallback was that we would go for a unskilled position where we could widen the field of applicants. It wasn't ideal, it wasn't exactly what we wanted to do, but it was a way to get a body in the door, to get somebody in the door. And keep in mind, you know, my thought process is, if we can get somebody in-house, somebody in a starting position, even though it's at a low wage, over the years, that person becomes invested in the community and the utility. And the chance or the likelihood of that person going someplace else, losing that person someplace else, is much reduced.
I was just wondering, do we usually advertise them in the Cincinnati Enquirer, though?
I don't know, HR generally does that. She asks me the type of publications that we'd like to advertise in. The one email that I got specifically from Jenny was on the Cincinnati Enquirer.
Okay, that's the price you were quoting for the advertising, so I was just wondering if we used them or not, so I didn't know.
Yeah, it was, they were running a weekend special at this significantly reduced rate of about $3,000. She was bringing that to my attention. I did not take that. We did not run that application or that job in the paper, but she was bringing it to my attention. So I bring that up specifically because I had an email from Jenny from HR, specifically from the Cincinnati Enquirer.
But just for clarification, you stated early on that it would cost upwards to $12,000 like you spent.
It can.
$12,000.
It can.
Did you spend $12,000?
No, I did not. I avoided that cost.
So it was probably the ones that you put in for the tech in the local paper. I do recall them, I think. Meter tech.
And I'd like to make one more comment. Over the years, I've missed a handful of meetings. And if there's anybody in this town that has complemented the workforce that we have, it has been me. And I'm not worried about what a few people think about me, if I insulted them or not, but I know that the vast majority of these city workers know that I'm behind them and that I am not the kind of person that would criticize them or knock them. So I'm not worried about apologizing a bit.
I don't think it was criticizing, but when you say that, you need to think of what you say before you say it.
Okay, hey, Tommy, let me just clarify the last thing here. That opinion will not be from our local attorney. I'll get it from an attorney that's up in Indianapolis that will have there will be a third party.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Your Honor,
On a softer note?
if I could, Mike, Scott, could you guys take the lectern for just a second? Just a couple questions for you. Just to kind of put a bookend on this, Travis D., what type of an employee is he?
Good employee, shows up on time, stays and works over if we need him to, does what task he's given.
Intelligent, hands-on.
I don't think all this is necessary.
Well,
It's not what kind of employee that,
It's not irrelevant, I just wanted to know, thank you.
Sugarcoating again.
That's not sugarcoating, we deal with the fact.
Mayor? All right, next item,
wait a minute, Your Honor, isn't there a board in the state that oversees this? And can't we call somebody from that board down here? Not a lawyer, somebody,
you got to get a legal opinion on it, though.
I would think somebody from whatever board that regulates this would come down and tell us, this is legal, this is not legal. They should know the rules.
They would defer to their attorney, but I can ask.
They'll get their attorney then. If that's the guy that does it. I want a guy that does it, and that way this will be done over.
Whoever gives the opinion has to stand behind it, so it doesn't matter one bit. They've got to stand behind it because it's going to have to be written.
All right.
So it has to be a written opinion. So, but we'll have them come down in person. All right, next item, Mr. Clausen, the acceptance to proceed with the NISC software.
Thank you, Your Honor. Crystal Quicksall is here tonight. She's going to be presenting. Vicky's going to be co-presenting on this. What we have, I've talked with a few of you, and if we think back over time, some of the issues that we've had with billing in the utilities, we currently have a software provider that we're using that has, I don't know how to put this delicately, there's shortcomings with the software that we currently have. Combine that with the fact that this company is moving into a new platform that is relatively, well, it's new, certainly be new to us, and it's, by their own statements, it has some issues. They haven't got the kinks worked out of it yet, and so we have, some months ago, a year ago probably, we started investigating a different software solution for the billing. One that can do all the types of things that we think are important to do, like prepaid metering, things of that nature. So, Crystal, if you would.
Okay, so sometime last year we were invited up by IMPA, which I'm sure you all know who IMPA is. They had vetted several software companies for all the member utilities, made it simpler process for us to go up and kind of fill out the three that they had picked. From that, we came back with the knowledge of two that we wanted to investigate ourselves, so we had them come in and we did a presentation in-house for all of the utility in the office. From that, we picked NISC. They were innovative. They had different options for us that we could utilize in the future, like he has said, the prepaid metering, different billing platforms, interval type data that we can offer to not just our commercial customers but our residential customers who might be interested in lowering their cost of their bills. So it kind of gives us and the customers more of a, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but a better opportunity to understand their own bill. So what he also said was our current software that we have, we've had a lot of snags along the way with it as far as what it can produce as far as reporting and things that we need to do our job correctly and efficiently. So we're hopeful, if with your approval, that we can move forward with NISC software and allow us to grow as a utility and for beneficiality to our customers. So, do you have anything to add? No. She also looked at the finance side of everything, and we do have a couple other utilities, Greenfield Utility. I think Vicki, Julie, and maybe Dale went up and sat with them for the day, and they thought that everything was great. Everything worked pretty flawlessly, so that was a plus too. We do have connections with another utility using it, so if we did have questions, we would have that there to fall back on.
But Greenwood's already using this?
Greenfield, yes.
How long have they, or Greenfield?
Yeah.
How long have they been using it?
A year.
Less than a year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two important things to note. The software provider we currently have has other communities within Indiana that they serve. Those communities have also left them as a billing solution for similar reasons. They've still got a couple that are still doing business with them. We've been in communication with those companies. One of them is Washington, thank you. They realize that they have to make a switch.
Okay.
They don't want to because it can be painful, but they realize they're going to have to. So I would say that all of the utilities within Indiana are leaving that particular vendor, going somewhere else. And also, part of the vetting process, IMPA had 72 communities in-house vetting the software, the 3 participants, and they emerged as the preferred billing solution from the majority of those 72 communities within the state of Indiana. So there's a great deal of thought that's gone into it, a great deal of consideration. To remain, even if we remained with our current billing software company, because it's literally a brand-new offering, there's substantial costs in going back with that vendor. So they don't not just going to roll us in, since we've been customers for all these years, roll us into the new software for free. We still have to pay for that.
No guarantee that it's going to be something that we can utilize to compare to what NISC has to offer.
Any other questions from up here, guys? You want a motion on this?
I'd like a motion on it, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion. Anything else from you ladies? Thank you for the presentation. I'll entertain a motion then to accept and proceed with the NISC software.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The next item, Mr. Clausen, is mid-year financial update. You handed out some.
Yeah, you've got 2 sheets that we passed out. And Vicki, if Vicki Robinson is going to present on this, we thought it would be a good idea to come before Council, Utility Service Board, and give a mid-year financial update on the utilities, where we stand. Keep in mind that when we talk about the sewer utility specifically, we have other things that are kind of at play as it relates to the sewer utility, specifically South Dearborn Regional Sewer District. So some of the issues that are there we're aware of, but it's difficult for us to make a change to correct those issues without getting some clear signals from South Dearborn Regional Sewer District first. Vicki?
Yeah, on the sheet that we handed out, just want to direct your attention to the operating income line, or operating income loss line. Electric is doing fairly well. If you look at the depreciation line, that basically tells us what assets are being used up or wearing out. And electric's keeping up pretty well with maintaining, replacing, and even going forward with new projects in that area. However, when you get over to the sewer category, they're the column for the sewer or wastewater fund, they're losing like $40,000 year to date, which would be half the year. So theoretically, you can look at probably an $80,000 loss for the year. That in no way keeps up with even maintaining the assets that we have, let alone putting into more projects. So that's pretty much the one thing we wanted to bring out. when looking at the financials.
And on the sewer issue as well, if you recall, I've mentioned in other public meetings that I think our total for the year last year was, we were $65,000 net, I believe, somewhere in that area. So things could change month to month. This $40,000 could be, we could capture it back through new services or through other things that we're doing, other services that we're providing. And we could end relatively even for the course of the year. So I look at the $40,000 loss to date, and I don't put a whole lot in that. I don't think it's necessarily a trending line that's going to continue and be $80,000 loss at the end of the year. It could be, absolutely. It could be more than that. I don't anticipate it being. We've got a few businesses that are talking about coming in and a few things that are on the horizon I think are going to offset some of these losses. But the impetus of it is we wanted to discuss these things and bring to the attention of the Utility Service Board just what are some situational awareness, so that when we have these discussions, and we will be having these discussions in other meetings about South Dearborn Regional Sewer District and what's happening there, so that everybody can kind of understand how important that is and how those discussions will directly play into these discussions with this body.
Well, and talking about sewer, I mean, it's obviously, we've all known that it's never been the moneymaker of the three, but we've identified that, and I'm talking about, when we say we, I'm talking about Aurora, Greendale, and Lawrenceburg have identified some things over at the Regional Sewer District that needs to be addressed administratively, logistically, long-term types of things, and we're working through those now, actively working through those. So hopefully this kind of thing in the sewer department will turn around. It's not going to turn around overnight, just like anything else that we do, but at least we've identified some problems and some issues that need to be addressed. So, good point. Thanks, Vicki. Any questions, guys?
Any other questions or comments on the financials?
I just have a comment, Your Honor. It's probably time, or getting close to time, when the utility should review the rates again. They should be done on an annual basis. And maybe they'll come back and say the rate's fine, but they should be reviewed by somebody outside of the utility.
Is there plans for that soon?
Yeah, we actually send our financials to Crow and Horwath for them to look at and review, and I have I'd say quarterly meetings at least with them about the financial stability of each of the three utilities. One example I'll give you is we look at the electric department and we see that it's doing fairly well, that it's profitable. I'm happy to report that because it's running well and we're doing okay with that, we've got a $400,000 purchase for a new dangle digger, replacing one that's aged, and we're going to be able to cover that out of the utility revenues. We're not going to have to come to the city to finance that or to fund that. So we are successfully in the electric utility specifically funding our depreciation, funding those needs, and able to buy those things for the utility with utility monies that are raised. And I think that's a big step for us. The goal would be, and I don't know that we'll ever get there entirely, but the goal would be to set rates for the water and the sewer to be able to navigate and accomplish those same types of things, to be able to not depend on the tax-based side of things or riverboat to accomplish those tasks, but to pull that money out of the rates that are being charged to cover those things. So it's sustainable. I know that everybody's probably thinking to themselves that means a rate increase, and yeah, it would, but I will point out to you that if you look at the rates that we pay here in Lawrenceburg, and you overlay those on the rest of the communities within the state of Indiana, we are in the lower portion of the lowest quartile in rates. There's not many water utilities or sewer utilities, for that matter, out there charging less money for the services that we're providing. So while I want to keep rates low, I think it's advantageous for us to keep rates low. I would also like to have a serious discussion about an appropriate rate that doesn't need subsidization.
Let's be clear, though, tonight you're not saying that the rates are increasing. Mr. Awad, do not print that. Nobody leave this place saying the rates are going up. Thanks, Alderman, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, any other new business?
No, Your Honor. I got one.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Kreider's situation he has, I want to bring that up tonight with his billing.
Okay. Did you have something?
No, the stuff he's been sending to us. You got something on Mr. Kreider?
I do not.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You have something, Mr. Kreider?
I'm Bill Kreider. I own 221 Walnut across the street, and I would hope that this didn't need to come to a public meeting, but apparently it does. I would like that it could be dealt with in a nice, quiet fashion with the utility board or the utility director. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. I've been in this community a long time, and I can't remember a time that I've been treated the way I have been by this gentleman, Mr. Olin Clausen. I need your assistance as a utility board with an issue which has existed for the last couple of years. I have emailed you essentially the facts that I'm presenting tonight, but I'm asking for some action. I own a building across the street, 221 Walnut, and for the last couple of years that I've been checking, I had a secretary treasurer of sorts that would take care of the billing, so I didn't catch it, but in the last couple of years, I've been doing it, so this has become aware. I've become aware of it. Essentially, what I pay in that building is a minimum fee based on not my usage, but a minimum fee based on apparently the size of the water line that comes into that building. And I don't know if you guys realize that that's the ordinance you passed. So instead of, it's a typical, 4 apartments and downstairs commercial space in downtown Lawrenceburg. It's not a big industrial building or whatever. It uses about 6,000 gallons, 6,000 to 8,000 gallons of water per month. I pay the equivalent of 15,000 gallons every month. And because of the ordinance, I pay not only that 15,000 value of water, which is not used, I pay, based on that 15,000, a sewer charge that is excessive as well. I feel like I'm funding I'm doing my part to fund the utility department, and I think it's wrong. I think that I'm being essentially ripped off because of an ordinance that you may or may not be aware of. So I'm asking that my water be charged and my sewer be charged fairly, and that is by usage, not by some artificial means. The ordinance is incorrect. It needs to be corrected. It's detrimental to me, and it needs to be changed. If it can't be changed, if it's too much trouble to change an ordinance, then I would suggest that you provide me a variance that my water is based the way it should be, fairly, on usage, not on the size of a water line. That water line was probably put in well before the ordinance was passed. I don't know that there's a grandfather clause in Lawrenceburg, but there should be. Water lines were put in well before that ordinance, and that's what should be used. The other item is because you passed an ordinance not too long ago. Now, I couldn't find the ordinance in your in the ordinances that are published, but it's probably there someplace, and that is you have this fire protection fee. And I pay several utility bills, okay, every month. I pay $5.41, and everybody else, if you check your utility bills, you'll see a $5.41 charge on there for a fire protection fee. I would dare say that the majority of people in Lawrenceburg have no idea what that fire protection fee is or what it pays for. Mr. Clausen should explain at some point what that is. But from my understanding, it's to maintain the fire hydrants throughout the town. This is probably news to a lot of people, it may be news to you all. But regardless, there's a $5.41 fee put on everybody's water bill, unless they have a 2-inch water line or a larger water line. And for I pay 10 times, almost 10 times that $5.41. I pay $55 every month on the fire protection fee. For that, that's $600 a year for one building. I should have a fire truck sitting outside the door. Regardless, that needs to be changed, looked at, reviewed, whatever, to make it more fair. Not only for me, but other people who have, in the downtown area, who have a larger water line. I don't use any more water than anybody else. It's just the size of the water line that somehow has come into question. And I would ask respectfully that you all look at that ordinance and correct that one, and as well as the fire protection fee. In addition, if you do the math, how many water customers do you have?
I don't know the exact number.
1,200, 1,500, 1,000? Just
More than that?
2,500?
Yeah, north of that.
Okay. If you just did the 2,500 times, let's say 2,000 because it's easier math, at $5.41, that's about $10,000 a month, thereabouts. That's $120,000 a year. And it's obviously north of that, because some people like me pay a lot more than that, and I'm sure there are bigger lines than 2-inch water lines. So the utility department is collecting in the neighborhood of $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 every month. Is that money being used to maintain the fire hydrants? I haven't seen anything in any budget that indicates that that's the case. Was it the case last year? Will it be the case this year? Is it in the budget? Tyler, do you know whether the budget calls for a fee, an amount being spent on fire hydrant?
Well, let me
Repair,
kind of make a
upgrade,
comment
whatever.
about it. I will make a comment that if you look at the numbers we were just handed by Vicki, in the water department, if that fee falls under there, and, okay, for half the year, then we should be $60,000 to the good. We'd have to raise rates if that went away. And we wouldn't be covering what we got, if I'm looking at that correctly.
And Your Honor, what is the amount paid for fire protection, the fire hydrant?
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Back last year, I think it was, there was an issue with the county. The county was collecting that money on your taxes.
I'm aware of the situation,
Okay.
Mel, and I realize that, and I'm not against paying a fee to have the fire hydrants maintained. What I am against is my paying 10 times what the gentleman next door, or the household that has a smaller water line is paying. It doesn't have anything to do with the size of a water line. It's just it's an artificial.
Actually, it has everything to do with the size of the water line, because per Indiana state law, the public fire protection charge is built off of a 5/8 meter equivalent. And so it has everything to do with the size of the line going to your business. I've given you quotes to change that to a smaller line. You know the price of that. You'll have to pay for that. It's nobody else's obligation to pay for that. You've chose not to. So you could take action, your own action, to reduce the size of the service going to your house, thus reducing your charge each month, and you chose not to.
I have there's nobody else I can buy water from. You have basically a monopoly in Lawrenceburg, and if I could, I would. If I could dig down into the aquifer, I would. It's should be based honestly on usage, not on some kind of artificial size of a water line. And I'm saying, don't just if you can make an exception, because you have this state law that you're hiding behind, or you're, that's fine. But at least make an exception for the fairness factor.
We don't make exceptions, Bill, that'd be unfair to everybody to make an exception.
I'm saying make an exception to everybody who has that situation, that's all. But if you can't do that, then,
So some people will understand this. When we do a cost analysis and we establish rates, they are cost of service-based rates, meaning we look at operational expenses, we look at the wages, we look at the cost to produce the product, the cost to distribute the product, and that yields a number which is a cost to serve the water per gallon, per thousand, whatever the number is. So there is a mathematical formula that dictates what those numbers should be, what those rates should be.
what's the meter size reason? What's the rationale behind charging a minimum based on meter size as opposed to?
Because the larger the service is to your business, the bigger the obligation is from the utility to provide water to fill that pipe if there is a fire. So it's different for a 6-inch hydrant, it's different for a 12-inch service.
If there were a fire.
If there were a fire, we have to build infrastructure within the city, the entire city, to handle the fire flows. We're obligated to provide fire flow throughout the entire city.
Based on the size of a...
Based on all those cumulative sizes of line, yes.
I would get more water on this building than I would on the building next door? Because I have a smaller water line?
If I didn't have to worry about fire protection, I would run 1-inch poly all over Lawrenceburg, 2-inch poly all over Lawrenceburg. I wouldn't put 6-inch line in, I wouldn't put 18-inch line, 12-inch line in. I just run poly pipe everywhere, and I have to worry about it. We overbuild the system so that we can provide fire flow to the fire department or to structures if and when they need it. And there's a cost to do that. There's a cost to maintain that.
The safety of this town is of primary concern to all of us, okay? The amount of water that's necessary to go to those fire hydrants is absolutely essential. But...
And there's a cost to provide that water.
It doesn't have anything to do with the water going to my particular property.
It's accumulation of all of the services, literally every single service.
What I'm doing is essentially subsidizing the services that are provided.
Mr. Carter,
I'm objecting to that, that's all.
You're welcome to change the size of the service at your business.
Which is going to cost me about $2,000. It shouldn't cost me anything. That water line was there long before the ordinance was passed.
Well, the utility certainly didn't select the size of the line going to your business.
Well, he changed the law after that water line was there.
I don't believe that we did. So if, like I said, we've given you a quote to be able to do that work for you.
$2,000, approximately.
And you're free to do that if you'd like.
Or change water companies, I guess. That's what I'd like to do. What I'm asking the utility board, I'm not asking the utility director, I'm asking the utility board to look at that ordinance, review it for fairness and honesty, and take some action. Okay? Thanks.
Mayor, I'd like to say one thing. He was, just to make things fair, he was saying he's never been treated by the way he's been treated by Mr. Clausen, but just standing here listening, not saying anything, he's saying Mr. Clausen's hiding behind state laws. I mean, well, state laws are state laws. You mean, you don't hide in front or be in front of them. That's the law. So that's fair. And I believe Mr. Clausen's been plenty fair to Mr. Kreider, considering the fact that he didn't prosecute him for tampering with the meter. I think he's been plenty fair.
I did not tamper with the meter, and you have no right to say that.
Okay.
That was done by the utility department, and it's been...
Okay.
It's their meter.
Okay.
Let the record show that that's not an accurate statement. The utility company did not do anything with the meter. We have a police report on file. We have a police report on file for the tampering of our service.
That is illegal. It is obviously against the regulations.
Okay, hey, Bill, I've sat through numerous meetings talking about this, and we're not going to settle it tonight anyway.
I just want to tell you, I spent $6,000 to remedy the situation because this hasn't been offered.
Okay, any other new business, guys? Either way? All right, any old business?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody up here? No. All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Oops. All those in favor?
Is that document of public record? Could I have a copy of that, on the monies that the city has in the utilities?
Oh, hold on, let me finish this up. All those in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Tom,
So
Tom.
you can have mine.
actually, he would need to file a public information request if you're doing it by the book.
I do think he's right.
Excuse me, what is it again?
You'd have to file a public information request with the clerk treasurer's office.
Hold on,
Need to obtain that?
hold on.
You can definitely get a copy. Just come by our office and just, we'll have you fill out some
Hey, Tom.
paperwork. No biggie.
You can have mine.
I got you.
It's right here.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg City Council for August 7, 2017. If everybody would rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Doug Garner.
Here.
Utility Director Owen Clausen.
Still here.
Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
All right, announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs, Mr. Aaron Cook.
No report, Mayor, unless Tony wants to talk about some speed tables.
No, we've exhausted that.
Well, we got one new speed table put in on Front Street.
Here we go. Here we
Let's
go.
keep putting them in.
Okay. No, it is good stuff.
Yep.
I'm just making light of that.
Thank you, sir. All right.
The 2 weeks are up already? Mr. Mario,
Weather delays, Your Honor.
weather delays.
Weather delay.
Hey, will they be starting soon?
We did get your stop sign put in over at St.
Yes,
Clair.
we did. They jumped on the stop sign. They'll be jumping on those speed humps.
And it has been weather though, with, it's what we heard.
And the reason she's saying something because last week she had some speeders up her alley about one of some kids, so she's a little upset.
Flash your badge.
Hey. Box of rocks.
Bales in it.
Don't take the law into your own hands, Connie. Don't take the law into your own hands. Okay, anything else, streets, alleys, and curbs?
No.
All right. Finance, Mr. Abbott.
Everything looks good.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour Jr.
Everything looks good.
All right, Fire, Mr. Abner.
Okay, the Lawrenceburg Fire Department is going to host a foam application demonstration by the Greater Cincinnati Hazmat August 12th at 9 a.m. They're going to be at the firehouse?
Yeah, it started at the firehouse and then we trained it down.
All right.
Okay.
Go right ahead, sir.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Your Honor, you did kind of jump me real quick. I want to add one thing to the parks with Mr. Seymour. A long time ago, we said at George Street Park, we would have that shelter cleaned and painted. Ain't nothing been done to it, and our summer help's gone.
Okay.
Mayor,
Take care of that, Mr. Messmore.
I got one other thing.
Yes.
Might want to watch out there. I seen the firemen out today cutting weeds around the fire hydrants and stuff like that. So when you're out, you see the fire truck out there, might use a little caution around them. They're out there working.
Good. Anything else, guys? All right, I got a few announcements here, just bear with me, I'll go quickly. The last meeting, it was brought up, there was I don't want to say accusation or anything like that, but it was suggested that an LMU employee was doing some work at a lot that was being built on over here on, I think it was Arch Street, if I'm not mistaken. And I told everybody I would check into that, and after doing the investigation, next day, talking to whomever I needed to talk to and such, everything was on the up and up. He already clocked out. He had clocked out, actually, I think at 9:30 that morning, if I'm not mistaken, if I looked at the time card right. Also, there was somebody asking about some trees being cut down and charged to the city, and that, I don't find any evidence of that either. So just wanted to clear that up for the audience, because I know it was just brought up. So, yes.
Was any of our equipment being used at that site?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
No.
that's all I need to know.
No. I think there was a truck parked out front,
Okay, I just,
but that was
while you're answering questions, I figured I'd ask you.
truck back and forth to work, but that's all, that's what I know about that particular issue. In your packets, as you've requested, is the Dearborn County Community Grants. So you got that list from
That
the
list, yes.
first 6 months, as requested. Gives a narrative about each one of them as well. Just wanted to bring up that CASA, Citizens Against Substance Abuse, had their annual recognition dinner and such, or lunch, I take that back, lunch. And I won't speak for Mr. Combs, but the city was very well represented as far as being a contributor, mainly in executing the first QRT in the area, quick response team. And just recently, Greendale has joined with us on their establishing their own quick response team. And we're working with the county because we think the county needs it as bad as anybody. So we're still working that one, aren't we, Donnie? And but they were very well recognized there. I'd like to ask council, this got brought up this week, Arts and Crafts in the Park. Everybody knows that's an annual event. This year it's, I believe it's September 10th. They called my office asking about restrooms. And I thought they were referring to the restrooms that we used to have that were portable, and Aurora took them. That was not the restrooms.
Nope.
They were talking about, I mean, I guess the city had provided restrooms for them. I did not know that, and I didn't want to answer for you guys until I brought it up to you. So I'm asking, I guess in the form of a motion on this, if I could, and I'll address that down in new business. But I just wanted to make you guys aware so we can at least talk about it. Last thing I will bring up, but it's very important. NDOT, a lot of you've probably seen the message boards out here on US 50 about lane pattern changes and everything else. The day after those were put out, I think or so, we were made aware of a project by NDOT. They want to come and put a polymer-type substance preservative on the new bridge, the flyover bridge, if you know where I'm talking about. We're not against the project, but we're against the timing. And the timing was supposed to be started last Tuesday. And so Monday, we got them on the phone and said, hey, you know, we really would like for you to see about pushing this project off. Give us time to warn our constituents, give us time to warn Proximo and MGP and the school buses and try to figure out if we're going to have to staff a fire department up on the hill because the westbound lanes would be shut down or whatever, a big backup. So they were very, very, very cooperative, and I hear that's unlike any other time. So they know they were in the wrong, okay? They admitted to us that they didn't communicate this very well. So they agreed to come down then for a site visit last Wednesday. We took them up to US 50 at Front Street where all the cluster happens. And because what was going to happen with this project originally was the on-ramp to US 50 from Greendale, you follow me, coming down Main Street, was going to be closed for 3 weeks. Completely closed off. That meant everybody was going to either turn, well, you can turn right and then go to Shipping Street, or take a left on Shipping Street and make it out there to go westbound, or eastbound. But if you wanted to go westbound, you were going to have to go and take a left on 4th Street and then a right on Front Street and then wait at the light, okay? So we told them that this wasn't, you know, obviously it's not acceptable, but obviously they can do what they really want to do. But they came down here on that Wednesday, the quickest I've ever seen them act. We've went weeks without getting a phone call back. But they came down, they went up and assessed the situation. They realized that we had some valid points. At that time, also last week, Purple Road was closed. So it didn't give people in Greendale, if they wanted to go the back way, to go westbound on US 50 to avoid the traffic. You know, they didn't have an avenue to go there either unless they went, I guess they could have went Kaiser Drive and out 48 and all the way down. So anyway, they have agreed to push the project off to August 21st, okay? There's a couple different reasons for that. Number one, it's given us time to get the word out. We met with the city of Greendale today, or yesterday, I guess it was, and Proximo and MGP, the schools, everybody concerned, UCB, because they're obviously concerned right there at that corner, just to give them a heads up so they can maybe plan their truck traffic, bus traffic, things like that accordingly. So what I'm trying to do is warn the public. I'm going to get on the radio, I think it's Thursday, the first one of probably next 3 weeks, just to warn people that this is coming. I know we're going to still get phone calls because it's always Lawrenceburg's fault, but this is not a Lawrenceburg project. This is an NDOT project.
This is going to be down for how long?
3 weeks. It's going to be a 3-week project, but they're hoping to get it done quicker, and they're also going to try to work as much as they can at night, as long as the dew point allows them, because this polymer can't adhere to the surface unless the dew point is a certain degree. So just bear with us. It'll all work out. We'll all get to where we're going, but and we all know the first 3 or 4 days will be the worst because everybody hasn't figured out the route yet. But they also know that they have to have this done before Fall Fest weekend, because that would be just horrible traffic. So anyway, just wanted to share that with everybody. If I know council, you guys will get calls. Remind them it's not a Lawrenceburg project. That's all I ask.
Your Honor?
But tell them we got it, we're working on it.
I've got one announcement if I could.
Yep.
The, filed to cover this in Utility Service Board meeting. Shocker. Up at the top of Walnut Street on 50, if you recall this evening, we've got a demo project that I think the council's going to like. You guys have asked for us to look into doing some things with the arches as a gateway to the downtown area. We've got Archer Lighting from Indianapolis that has come down, and we've got we're basically lighting a portion of that tonight after this meeting as a demonstration, so you can kind of get a sense and a feel of what we'll be doing with it. The same product it's a Color Kinetics product. It's the same stuff they use to light the Empire State Building in New York City. I bring that up simply for the fact that it's a very reputable company. They've been around a long time, and they're going to be around for a long time. And so after the conclusion of this meeting, if whoever would like to join us up there to see that, I invite you to do that.
I'm glad you remembered that, because I think it'll be a good demonstration. Okay, I have no other announcements. If that spurred anybody's minds, go ahead, Aaron.
I think it's kind of a, get everybody's opinion up here. I'm on the board at the community center, and up until this point, the adult center has always had the breakfast with Santa, and they will continue to if you guys want to, but working there, I see that the tickets are always gone within 2 weeks, and we have to turn hundreds of kids away. With the board's permission, I would like to bring it up at the community center meeting tomorrow, if they would host the breakfast with Santa, because then every kid that would like to go would be able to fit in the gym if they held it in the gym over there, and then you wouldn't have to turn anybody away, because there's 2 weeks of tickets where everybody gets them, then there's 4 weeks of turning every kid down after that. And I feel bad, answer the phone, telling these kids they can't go to Santa, but I want to get the board's approval before I mention it to the community center tomorrow.
Okay, more we can serve, I think it's better. I'm okay.
There's a lot more room here at the community center.
Now, is the Main Street still going to host, or either run it, or?
The adult center.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can get the logistics worked out with that, but I just wanted to make sure it'd be okay to bring it up tomorrow.
That or it could be a good Main Street project.
They have a kitchen, yeah.
Probably have to put something down on that floor, that new floor.
Oh, yeah.
That new floor. We want something down on that new floor.
I forgot about that.
$30,000 floor there. But no, how does everybody feel about it?
That's fine.
Head nod.
See, the adult center's capacity is, I think, like 212 or something, so they hold 2 breakfasts, which is, it's 400 people, but you got to figure in the grandparents, the parents, so it's only half kids, but then, like I said, hundreds of kids get turned away every year.
Right.
You know, we did the firehouse before on one of them with the Easter, on the Easter.
3 or 4 years ago.
We used the firehouse one time, that was good.
Where you park the trucks, you mean?
Yeah. See?
That's another option, I guess, too.
I'll just say for 4 weeks telling kids that even if they don't win the prizes, they still get to see Santa, Magic Dan, breakfast, the whole procedure. Even if they don't win any prizes, I still would like them to be able to attend.
I'm okay with either place.
Okay, and if they don't, like I said, the adult center would still do it, but I just wanted to make sure before I brought it up tomorrow at the meeting.
I think you got an option. I think the firehouse would be happy to do it, too.
All right.
You guys okay?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Thanks, Aaron.
You're welcome.
All right, if there's no other announcements, I'd like to, well, we got two sets of meetings, don't we, to get approved here? Suzanne and Tyler?
The minutes.
Looks like minutes, yeah.
Special work session.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and ask for approval of the minutes from the July 11th, 2017 meeting first.
So moved.
Get a motion? So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. And then could I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 25th of 2017?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. All right, thank you. All right, committee reports. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
All I have is everybody should have a copy of July's runs in front of you. That's all I got.
Okay. Police Chief Donnie Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. We did meet with Greendale PD last week on the quick response team. They are going to start September 1st, and we will assist them in whatever they need to get started, help them along the way. We actually had a meeting in Batesville Ivy Tech today, and Chief Yeoman went up with me. This was over that, and data sharing and all that, so we got some good information on that. So it's moving right along. So you're right, we need to get the county involved. We'll continue to work on that. I talked about the last meeting, a meetup spot. I explained the internet exchange and all that. I think I just want to do that in one place at this point in time, would be at the police department.
Okay.
So I'm going to work on that still.
Okay.
We'll get a camera there and get our sign made up to make people feel safer when they buy items off Craigslist. They don't know who anybody are. It's a safe place to meet.
Okay.
We had a officer's funeral last week. Officer was shot in Southport, and we were represented well by one of our officers that went up there. He's on the cops team, and very well received. So good part on his part to do that. So that's unfortunate we had to do that, but CO was represented very well.
Great.
And just wanted to mention to the council, we're going to host the K-9 training in September. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Right. EMS Director Bobby Mills. How's our new ambulance come?
How's it coming?
Yeah.
Ain't here yet,
Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
What's your delivery date?
We got two in service then, right?
In service.
Or three? Oh, it's meant three.
Randy's want to know when it's going to come. We're thinking around end October. They push it back a couple of weeks. So.
Halloween, baby.
Yeah. Better than Christmas.
Okay.
Right.
All right, new business, Dearborn County Hospital Heart and Lung Health Walk-In Run. Anybody here to present?
An annual deal.
Well, then I will do this. I will present for them. This is an annual event. They do it, I believe it is at Fall Fest weekend on Saturday morning of Fall Fest. Very well attended event. They have it up here at Ivy Tech at the trail, on the trail. So they're asking permission to utilize the trail, and obviously the parking garage will be available to them as well. So I'd entertain a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Okay, the next item will be Mr. Garner presenting the new and improved noise ordinance.
Can I make one comment before you?
Sorry.
When we talked about this last time, I brought up the 1 o'clock and that's what we talked about, and but this says midnight.
Well, in the last meeting, I believe you're on vacation. I'm sorry. I had gotten 3 or 4 phone calls from residents that I guess heard about the 1 o'clock. And when I got phone calls, I said, well, is there anything we can do to maybe compromise this? And it was brought up maybe talking about midnight. I went to the bar owners, 2 of the 3 anyway, and they were fine with midnight. That was the reason for it, Aaron. You're right. You did bring up 1 o'clock, and then it was.
Could we do something like this, midnight on outside, outside concerts, 1 o'clock indoors?
Well, we won't control what's indoors as long as it's not the way the ordinance reads is any excessive noise, like during the week and such, no different than what we send a police officer to on a noise complaint. And now, if it's abnormal noise or excessive noise, they have the right to shut them down. So that was the reason. I mean, I don't think we can't tell them how long to play their music inside. It's based upon they can play it until their bar closes. Yes, Mario.
Mr. Seymour had asked us to do a noise check for Mr. Thomas, and per the ordinance, I think it's 64 with the decimal reading. Jimmy exceeded that, but so does a loud conversation. A normal conversation is right at about 60.
So what if Jimmy's over there singing and the police come? Are they gonna test it or what?
Well, if it's after midnight, I mean, they would be allowed to perform until midnight.
Yeah, I'm saying like 12:30. Because a lot of those people at those concerts get out at what, 10:30 or 11? Or is that what time they end?
I don't know.
So they've only got an hour, then the outside music is getting shut down. But I thought we were trying to create an entertainment district. I thought, an hour of outside entertainment after that concert ends isn't very much.
That was just the discussion that was had. That's the reason it was.
About an hour grace period.
But we're actually doing away with the decibel threshold.
Right. Decibel threshold is not in the
We're not measuring it no more, just
Right.
what we think is reasonable and unreasonable, which is.
Well, they have till midnight. Anything after that would be based upon if they get a complaint, the police officer's going to come by and say, yeah, this is probably excessive. Shut it down.
How they gonna do that now? That's gonna open the door for some stuff.
No, they've always had that authority. They've always had that authority to do that.
Okay.
So that's why it doesn't matter if you put decibels in there or not. Am I correct at saying that or not, Mr.?
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. I mean, we can take our decibel meter and, put it on Jimmy or whoever.
No, they're taking the decibel out of it now.
They're going to take a decibel out of it. But if we think it's exceeding the noise of other patrons or residents or whatever, then we have a right to stop that.
Kind of music he said he was gonna play, I've been riding by and not been that bad.
I mean, we're very lenient on that. I mean, it depends if we get a call or not. We're not going to just go over there and watch.
Yeah.
Okay, now
I
here's.
guess the police are going there like every weekend now, though, right? Like the past 2 weekends or something? The levee breakers are what I'm talking about, yeah, for noise.
I had a call to the levee breaker.
He said they've been there twice.
He said something about they had a call from Mary Street, somebody
Yeah.
complained, I heard.
I'm just telling you the phone calls I had gotten, but I don't know if you guys got any calls.
Okay,
I haven't received any phone calls or.
Okay.
Here's my next question on this. Now, with the racetrack, how often do they race past midnight?
Midnight?
Yeah.
Depends when they,
So if they're racing past midnight, somebody calls, complain, that would be excessive noise. Can you tell them to shut down?
I believe
I think they're.
I know, we have another ordinance with the racetrack, but that goes against what we're doing here.
Yeah, but then we're talking about downtown. We're talking about.
Then we had to put in here, it's just downtown, because somebody will be calling against the racetrack. When they see we got a noise ordinance.
Racetrack's been going on all summer.
I know, but this new ordinance hasn't, and they'll be calling about that racetrack. There's a lot of people that doesn't like the noise from that racetrack.
been out of compliance then on your old ordinance, though, correct?
If it's after midnight, because now it says after midnight.
Well, their rule now states they can't start a race after 11 o'clock.
Correct.
Right.
But this rule says they're not allowed to make excessive noise after midnight.
This doesn't pertain to the racetrack. This isn't the racetrack. The racetrack has a separate ordinance over there, or noise.
We can't have two ordinances going against each other,
An
so is
ordinance
this
is
just,
policy.
is this just downtown then?
That's what I thought we were developing.
Well, that's what we need to put in here, just downtown.
Yeah, that's what I don't know if it's on here or not because I just got this, but, I was just talking about inside the entertainment district only on Fridays and Saturdays. 'Cause I mean, I got the other thing in my packet, I just got this tonight. Does it say, entertainment district only on here?
What did you get tonight?
This?
That was the written description of the ordinance, so I didn't have to read the
Executive
entire
summary.
ordinance.
Oh, that was just a written description of what this is, Aaron,
Okay.
what you have in your packet.
Yeah, the ordinance in your packet. Summary, so we don't have to read the whole ordinance.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to hear the whole ordinance.
Is I don't see it right now. The ordinance that they passed out, this, is this,
Tony, you were here at that meeting, we discussed this.
on here?
Did we or not? I don't remember.
On the offense and the ordinance itself, this ordinance, the full ordinance, it says from the hours of 5 PM to midnight in there for the noises. I don't get that. This full ordinance,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
it's the second page, A.
Okay. On Friday. I mean, we can change, hey, listen, you guys are the vote, you guys, whatever you guys want to put in there, we'll.
I just want,
put in there.
inside the entertainment district, Friday and Saturday only, to extend it to 1 o'clock.
And that was what was discussed.
Yeah.
That was what we talked about at the last meeting, because I had gotten 4 phone calls,
Yeah.
3 phone calls, I'm sorry,
Okay.
3 phone calls. Because evidently somebody heard that we were extending it to 1 o'clock.
I think it was in the newspaper.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Okay, well then.
I think it's Joe. I think
apologize.
it's Joe's fault.
Okay, we'll blame Joe.
Probably.
And my vote
We'll blame
was,
your paper, okay?
my vote was, I don't care what time it is, as long as it didn't bother the seniors, and she said she don't hear nothing in that senior building, so.
She likes to party right with them.
Out there with them. But she's not the only one.
Yeah, well, I've asked a few other ones, they said they've heard nothing over there.
Well, but I've gotten 3 calls that said they did.
Excuse me, we do have one in the audience, Miss.
I got plenty to say about it,
Well, let's,
if you hear me in just a minute.
come on up to the podium.
And I'll be as polite as I can.
You didn't dance when we were in
The
school,
problem
so
of
I
it
know
is,
you don't dance
I know where all you guys live. You don't live where I live at. I live 2 blocks away from where the music's going on.
One.
Well, that's right, 1 block away. Me and Shirley lay there after midnight, and they're supposed to stop at midnight. And it don't stop at midnight.
Now.
And the problem of it is, if we could get away from it, we would get away from it. We ain't got nowhere to go. That's our house that we're buying. We've been there for 7 years. Now this is coming along, they want to start a party block, and they're telling us, you either like it or just get over it. That ain't right. That is not right. And like I said, I am one of the easiest persons there is to get along with. I don't have any problem with anybody in this town. Do any people have any problem with me? Yeah, and I know a ton of them. I know a ton of them. But a lot of them, you don't have to do anything to. If people decide not to like you, they just don't like you. And, hey, that's how it is. That's how it is in today's world. But all I want to do, all I'm trying to say, Randy, you know, I ain't no crazy nut. I'm a good person. And I understand people wants to party. I understand that. And I don't care if they do till 5 o'clock in the morning. But don't involve us in your 5 o'clock in the morning party. You know, shut it, just go inside. If you want to turn it up, go inside, shut the doors, and that would be great. But the other night, now just like you guys, somebody said I drove by, I didn't hear a thing. I drove by, I didn't hear nothing. I drove by at 12 o'clock at night, the doors was open, and you could hear it up on the levee. So everybody's got their different opinions. Everybody went by at the different times. Now, am I griping about the bars? No, I am not. All I'm asking is, please, we're buying our place, just give us a break. You know, if you want to party, just shut your doors. That's all I'm asking. I mean, you don't have to have a door open to have a party.
All right, now, Rick, are you talking about the bars that are having the bands out there? Are you
I've heard
talking the
ones
music on the
down
river?
there on the corner, the levee breaker. We've actually walked down the street and looked at it. I mean, people dancing out in the street, and some of it's on Facebook. It's nuts. I know you're laughing, but
I'm just laughing along with you. You're
I'm
smiling
telling
too.
I'm telling you the truth. It's the truth. But, like I said, I'm as easy as anybody else to get along with, but my gosh, man, just be a little bit, look at my side of it.
Okay, so this, let me understand, this is the bands are playing in the bar. It's not the bands out in that courtyard, right?
Tony, I couldn't tell you where it's coming from. All I know is you hear the bass.
Karaoke. That's what you're hearing.
I know Dick who does karaoke.
You're doing, you're hearing karaoke. They do karaoke pretty late. Keep the doors open.
Yeah, they do. They do. Like I said.
I think we can ask them to keep the doors closed. I'm pretty sure they'll keep the doors
I
closed.
don't care if they do it outside, but they don't have to blast it. You know, people don't want to hear that 3 blocks away. Some of them, they ain't very good singers neither.
Before you're done, can you state your name and address, because I don't know you, and I'd like to know where you live.
Well, I know your brother, Steve.
Okay, all right. I don't
This is,
know. I
I don't care if you know where I live. I live on 9 Mary Street.
And what's your name?
My name's Rick Baker.
Rich Baker. Okay,
he went to
all
school with us, Sachi, and I'll vouch for him. He's one of the quietest guys ever went through school.
Yes, he is.
I know most of these guys. I know I don't know him. I know he's married to part of my family.
That's why you're laughing at me now.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I know you. Like I said, I ain't here to cause no trouble. I'm just here to just see if you guys would work with me, that's all.
And I just have one question, and I'm the one, I will be honest, I called and talked to, I didn't call to talk to the mayor, he offered to talk to me. And we had a nice conversation. I was one that would agree till midnight. You have to realize, you work all day, and I know Monday through, you're saying Friday and Saturday. Well, I work Friday, I'm tired on Friday. And 12 o'clock, we agreed on. And I think I even mentioned to him, I understand your point. You want to bring,
Yeah, I understand.
business into the town. But my comment to him was, if you want a business district, you have to take into consideration residents that live around there. I know there's going to be, pros and cons to everything. But, if you want a business district, why do you want residents in downtown Lawrenceburg? They have to live here.
Well, what's bothering me most too right now is we've been there for 7 years. Didn't have any intentions of moving anywhere, because we're both getting too old to want to do that anyway. But it's breaking my heart, because I bought that house thinking it was nice and quiet back in there. Now I'm thinking that something's coming in. I ain't gonna be able to change it, and I'll die heartbroken, I'm telling you, because there's nothing I can do about it. It's up to you guys. I can't go down there and complain. If I do, I'd look out for my cars and my house, because people will be coming along. Is that the guy complaining about the music? Yeah, let's put a big scratch on his car. I don't care. I don't care who knows that I'm saying this. I'm just, like I said, I'm not here I'm not here to cause trouble, but I guess I am complaining. But I'm trying to do it in a nice way, without making anybody mad. That's my main ordeal. Because once you do that, it's all downhill.
Well, we appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
We just appreciate you take our feelings into consideration.
Well, I guess she was one of the people I've talked to.
There you go.
I did find that out about 4 days later. Crystal said, "Thanks for talking to my mom." Well, I didn't even know who I was talking to.
Joe, please don't put their name in the paper, though.
No, you didn't. I just took the phone call but anyway, that was one.
So we're back to midnight, but it's inside also, apparently is a problem. But I think that's just a one-bar problem that we could probably work out with the owner.
Tony, like I said, even if it's outside, I don't care. Just so long as they don't, I mean, they just literally turned up way too much.
Look, he made us a promise that he was gonna keep the selection of music down to where it wouldn't bother anybody. And the way I see it, you just make him need to hold to that promise. Because I remember him saying that.
Yep.
So
Well, I know too, when I was younger, and I drank, I was in the party crowd, brother. I know I was there. The more I drank, the louder I wanted the music. That's just the way it is. I understand that. But now I'm old. Now I'm asleep.
Well, let me ask you, folks sitting up here, on here, what would you want to change?
I mean, I'll go along with the midnight for now because of them, and I know they live right there. And, but we do have to figure out something. We've got $60 million involved in these 3 blocks for an entertainment district. You know what I mean? And we don't want to stop the entertainment district, an hour after these concerts and stuff are releasing, but I'm fine with this for right now.
Buy our house, build no bar.
These guys are on redevelopment, they can buy some houses.
There you go.
You have to talk to Tony about that.
Redevelopment, that's the only reason. Not because I got any money.
Sure, it says what we want it to say.
Well, I'm getting some advice from council here on my right that it probably doesn't say what we want it to say, so we may want to table this version tonight.
Okay.
Meet on it.
I think.
So I entertain a motion to table the noise ordinance for tonight. No, that makes sense for me I want to make sure it's right.
All right. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. That's a good call.
Okay. But if the chief would stop over to Levee Breaker and tell them to kind of quiet it down and keep their doors closed after midnight, because they do some loud karaoke there.
I'll take it right over there.
Is that you singing?
That's not me.
That may be part of the problem.
Yeah, I know a few of them that do over there.
Yeah.
If I was singing over there, you'd come over and see me.
Oh, Lord.
Break out of your
Let's move on. Okay. All right, next item, I believe is the Main Street vacation resolution?
Yes, resolution number 2017-6. There was some just minor issues that need to be cleared up as far as the vacation of some property over on Main Street, and this has been worked on to take care of that. Vacation of a section of Isaac's Dunn addition to the City of Lawrenceburg, a resolution to vacate real property, whereas the City of Lawrenceburg owns a portion of the property commonly known as a portion of Isaac's Dunn addition, Plat Book 3, Slide 7, which also includes United Community Bank parcel, and intends to vacate a portion of that tract, which includes the following legal description: located in the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and being all that portion of Main Street that lies between 4th Street and Eads Parkway, US 50, whereas the City of Lawrenceburg is empowered by Indiana law, specifically Indiana Code 36-7-3-12, to vacate this real estate to resolve and promote land use in a manner that best serves the social and economic interests of the city and its inhabitants, and whereas the property is located adjacent to United Community Bank, and whereas the United Community Bank has utilized this property as part of its business, and whereas the City of Lawrenceburg wishes to vacate this property, and whereas the City of Lawrenceburg has authorized the vacature of .0046 acres, 200 square feet from the lands of United Community Bank, and therefore be resolved that the City of Lawrenceburg is authorized to vacate this property, passed by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, this blank day of blank 2017.
You know where we're talking about, everybody, I guess?
I don't know exactly.
Next to
Mike
United
does.
Community Bank on...
Is it the alley?
No, that is
In front of the phone
Main
company.
Street that we, in essence, it was vacated, but property UCB purchased from redevelopment, also the parcel, the triangle in front of Embark, and the smaller triangle in front of. This is with UCB's request and also the county.
No, wait,
Do a little bit of cleanup.
so you're going to, this is the spot in front of Bernie's place also?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm voting no. Guy's been screwed enough.
I can't believe you're taking away that one piece of property that's in front of that man's house.
This is what we need to do to be able to generate the legal description and the new deed to disperse of that property. This is one of the reasons we're doing that.
Well, why is it called vacating?
Because we're
And we're doing, what are we
property
doing?
is leaving us.
We are
To who?
vacating the
the
old
county?
Main Street, so it's no longer, nobody can say that it is still an existing right-of-way. It will be, once we vacate this, then we can disperse of the property to.
When that road was built, when that access to the bridge was built, that piece of property was supposed to go to the city.
That remainder did
Right.
go to the city, yes.
So why are we giving it to the county? Why are we not giving it to the property
We're
owner?
not giving it to the
Are we setting ourselves up, Mike, to do something like we did over on the alley by Dollar General?
Well, what
That's
we're
how much-
doing is, there is no current deed in dealing with the county. Even though the property, the southern end of that was redevelopment, transferred that to UCB. After that, the county will not let us transfer the piece in front of Embark, nor will they let us transfer the piece in front of Bernie's until we go through this process. We have the legal descriptions for each one, then we can create a new deed so we can transfer title to those adjoiners.
Okay, I understand that, but why are we calling it vacation? Because we're vacating, we're giving it up, aren't we not?
You're just giving up the right to, for the public to use it. This
That
is
is
in order to
correct.
get
On
the
the
legal
street.
description,
Right
so we
now-
can eventually do something with it. Right
You
now,
have to-
give or sell to Bernie, or give or sell to Embark, or whomever. Yeah.
Well,
This vacation
that house
does
there
not,
has lost its address. It has it lost the whole front of its house that the road used to be in front of. So the only way that man can ever sell this place is if he can get enough property where they can make a driveway.
And he can't sell it until the legal description gets developed for it.
All right, so as
That's-
long as
that's
it's
the
not
reason.
being vacated to someone else.
No.
It's coming,
it is
Who's it
being
going to?
vacated, no
so when
one.
somebody sells it, will it be the city of Lawrenceburg selling it, or will it be
It'll be the
Durham County?
city. The county has nothing to do other than cleaning this process up so they will allow us to record.
It
A
cannot be
transfer.
recorded now.
I know, it's so screwed up. It's
Is this similar to what we were doing over at Wendy's, that little strip, vacating it and letting Wendy's?
All the remnants.
Yeah.
It's, yes, it's just
Okay.
gonna be the same thing.
Okay.
down there.
I'm good with it then.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 6-2017, I believe it is.
Moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. All right, next item, Ms. Pat Kreider, Winter Wonderland update. 2 items on the docket for that.
Good evening. Yeah, it's that time of year again to look at the ice skating rink. So probably a couple months ago, I went out and requested proposals from 4 different entities for quotes for the ice rink. One responded that they weren't renting ice rinks this year. A second one said that they would send in a response, but then opted not to. So basically, I had 2 responses. One was from Magic Ice USA, and then from Ice Rinks to Go. And if you've seen those numbers, Ice Rinks to Go, I did request this time what the cost would be for a 6-week contract and for an 8-week contract. And the numbers for Ice Rinks to Go were obviously the most attractive. Their 6-week contract proposal was $86,400. The 8-week contract proposal was $88,700. Magic Ice's quote, whether it be 6 or 8 weeks, was $151,500. So obviously, there's a huge disparity. And I will tell you this, I am not surprised at the disparity. Ice Rinks To Go is local. They're in Marion, Indiana. They've serviced this rink for a number of years. They have the equipment. I mean, it's probably easier for them to come in at this price than it would be just about anyone else for that reason. So those are the numbers that we have before you. I guess the decision is if you would choose to go with Ice Rinks To Go, and if you're looking at a 6 or an 8-week contract.
It don't surprise me.
Questions? I had requested Pat to get 6 and 8 week pricing because it seems like it's like, to me, last year, with my first year dealing with it, so please bear with me. But towards the end, it was, number one, they were getting hard to get people to staff it. Number two, there was hardly anybody showing up to the rink, but we were paying for the rink. We were paying for the help. We were paying for the utilities. And I just said, you know, get a little shorter price range and just see, offer it up to them. So that's the reason.
Well, it's a hit and miss thing. It's with the weather. If it's really freezing cold out, they're not going to go ice skate. But if it's a fairly warm winter, then they're all going to be there. They're going to leave the slopes and come to the skate. So it all depends upon your weather.
And truthfully, last year, the slopes really do affect the attendance at the ice rink because last year, the slopes were barely in operation, and so we didn't have those extra people coming. So there is, and with all due respect to the mayor's thought process on this, there is a little difference in 2 more weeks as a contract, but there also is a difference in the fact that we do have utilities and we do have to pay people to staff it. But you know, every year it never fails. On the last weekend, it's always, and Dee will probably tell you this, it's always, oh no, you're closing already? Yeah, we've been here for 8 weeks, and somehow people just kind of discover it at the end, and I'm not sure how we get around that, but we hear that every year. So it's totally up to you all, what, you know.
It's about a $10,000 difference in the 2 weeks, so that's if you guys wanted to use that as a figure, but it's up to you guys. Obviously, this is the company, the other company really didn't want to do business.
Well, you know, this Magic Ice, the gentleman is so nice, and he responds every year, but he's like twice as much. And honestly, we can keep asking for requests for proposals for the next, I don't know how many years, and my guess these are the results we're probably going to get. I mean, Ice Rinks To Go is just in a position to service us and be able to provide an ice rink for us at a much lower cost.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping Ice Rink Events would have put in a proposal. Last time he was the closest to Ice Rinks To Go, but didn't get one from him.
Okay. You can't beg him to do it.
No.
What's the pleasure, you guys? Any other questions first, I guess?
I'd like a recommendation. I mean, are the people tired of working? Do you recommend that we keep the other 2 weeks? I mean, what, Dee's there, Tony, I mean.
I'm not going to vote on this because Dee has managed. Whether she'll manage this year or not, I don't know. But, you know, I'm down there a lot, and I know that if it's warm enough in the winter, the place will be packed. People will come and skate. If we have it 10 degrees outside and the wind's blowing, they're not going to come. It's nothing but a
hit or miss, right?
Yeah, hit or miss. You don't know. It's a crapshoot.
Okay.
But the people do enjoy it, I can tell you that, and they're upset when that ice rink closes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I think people are accustomed to 8 weeks. they have no idea what it costs to operate the rink, but they're accustomed to 8 weeks. If you go back to 6, you're going to get some pushback, I think. But Tony's right, it's totally the weather. And you will get like Tuesdays and Wednesdays during the week. So we close on Monday. Tuesdays and Wednesdays during the week, it's kind of light, but by Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday, it's building up. So they do come, but earlier in the week, they don't. And it's possible we can change our staffing patterns too, to reflect that a little better.
I'd like to make a motion, we go ahead for the 8 weeks.
Okay,
Keep it the same as it has been.
all right, motion's on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
I think Paul seconded, he beat you.
All
All those in favor?
I abstain.
Abstention?
One, me.
Roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott,
Abstain.
Member Aaron Cook,
Yes.
Member Mel Davis,
Yes.
Member Randy Abner,
Yes.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
One thing in the future that we ought to look into is maybe closing off that. I mean, we always put tarps at the end, which works halfway. They get blown off most of the time.
Oh, you mean the
See, that's a wind tunnel, and that's why people don't come a lot of times skating when it's cold, because it's nothing but a wind tunnel blowing
Yeah.
through there. If we could partition off half of it,
we take a
some
look
kind
at
of garage doors we could just pull down.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Christmas light.
Yes.
Christmas tree.
For the past 2 or 3 years, between the utility department and Civil City, they keep telling us, we got to change this tree. This tree is on its last leg, and I think it probably truly is
We talked about
past
that,
its
didn't we?
last leg,
Talked about
correct. So this year, I was requested to go out and get some quotes for an artificial tree. I know I did have a couple of the council people said, well, maybe it's just cheaper if we get a live tree every year and put that up. So I did have Mike McCabe did some research for me. And basically, first of all, he had a heck of a time trying to find somebody who would provide a real tree. Then he said, well, you probably have to bring it in on a flatbed. It would not have lights on, so the cost of the lights would be an addition. And plus, we have the issue of safely placing and stabilizing the tree. His guess was that it could be between shipping and handling and all those things, maybe $5,000 a year for a tree. And even then, we'd still be putting lights, having the expense of lights and stabilizing it. So I also did get, that was his guess, not guess, but estimate based on the people he spoke to. So I did get some orders for, some quotes for artificial trees, and I probably have about 4 quotes here. And they range anywhere, these are 29 or 30-foot trees with C7 LED lights on. These trees are basically in rings that are structured and built similar to the tree we have now, except I think these are nicer in that ours kind of looks like a green cone. These actually have more distinct branches. There's a big difference in the prices, but if you are interested in pursuing the tree, what I would ask is that you would vote on it with a cap on the price, and then I would like to turn these numbers over to Mike Abden and to Olin, because I know their concerns. Last year, we had some concerns with some lit garland, didn't have the proper, UL or whatever on it. And also, from the standpoint of safety, I'd like to have them evaluate the trees. I really think that we've got like a 20,000, a 23, a 26, and a 28 in those quotes, but I think that probably we can maybe get something for under 25, just looking at the numbers that I've gotten.
They give you life expectancy on something like this?
I think typically there are 5-year guarantees on the trees, 3-year guarantee on the lights. That seems to be about standard. I will tell you that the tree that we have now was probably maybe not as good a quality as some of these, and I think we've had it for 12 years. So if you look at that and look at your investment, you're looking maybe $2,000, $2,500 a year if it lasts for 10 years. So it obviously is fairly cost-effective. Now, that doesn't take into account if some of those lights have to be replaced.
Now, didn't you say Aurora wanted our old tree?
Yeah, I got a call in January. They said, we want your old tree. And I said, whoa, hold it. First of all, I said,
How much they willing to pay?
I think they were looking for a donation. I said, first of all, I don't know if the council is going to approve a new tree. And then the other thing is that last tree actually was purchased by Conservancy, so I think we'd probably, out of respect to Conservancy, have to ask their opinion on whether or not we can give that tree away.
I think
Could I know, I've asked Pat, I mean, go out and get these quotes and such too, and she's done a good job of doing that. I think the concern she has is to make sure that they are rated the correct way. So if we could, I think she wants to meet with Olin and Mike Abden to decide. So if we could phrase a motion in the sense of ability to spend up to the $28,000, and then if it's the $23,000 or $25,000 tree you end up with, that's a fine too. You guys?
So moved.
Well, let's hear it.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to give Mrs. Kreider in Main Street the ability to investigate the 4 quotes and spend no more than $28,000. Let's put it that way.
Sounds good.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
Second?
Thank you.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Okay.
And just,
Thank you.
Question I got was Christmas lights, red sleigh on one
that a
price.
company?
What's that mean?
well, the website was Christmas lights, but the tree is a product of a company called Red Sleigh. And going through, a couple of the companies were also quoting Red Sleigh. So it must be a big company. And just a couple more things. One is that we reopened our residential paint facade grant program, and that's where a residential can get up to $750 with matching funds. And we reopened that. The deadline is August 15th, and perhaps some of you know people in your neighborhoods who could benefit from this. We've had articles in the newspaper. I mean, we've tried to get the word out there, but if some of you know some people who could really benefit from that little bit of facade improvement money for their homes, please let us know, and those applications are due by August 15th. And the last thing is, I truly want to thank the city. We're still have Music on the River going on, but we've had a whole list of activities this summer, and I just want to say that the Civil City people have been great, absolutely wonderful. Brad Massey is just anything we need. They've been so responsive, and the same with the utilities. Mike at Utilities has worked very well with us, so I really thank the city. I think the cooperation we get is unequaled, and I certainly appreciate it, and I know everyone at Main Street does. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your report. Okay, next items are a couple that are mine, I guess. One is the calendar project. You know, we do a calendar every year, and I think last year we put it a little bit too much towards the end of the year, which causes the calendars to get out a little later. But we also were, the LCD has agreed to, they would like to be a part of the calendar this year. So whatever, I think they'd like to have maybe 3 months of pictures, whatever, dedicated to the LCD. So they would share in the cost of 3/12 or a fourth of the calendar project.
If they buy the Christmas tree.
And they're going to buy the Christmas tree? Is that what you said?
Yeah, if they buy the Christmas tree.
I wish you were right on that. But anyway, what I'm asking for tonight is a motion to, I guess, put the calendar project out for RFP, and that we can get this process going and do it in a little better timely manner.
I'll move that motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. And the next item I have is the donation committee recommendations you have in your packet. There were 2 this month. One was for the Eddie Canoe Toy Give it away. Give it away, Connie, give it away. Giveaway was approved, and Paul's Bark and Brew was approved. No requests were recommended that didn't get funded. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the donation recommendations.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I have no more new business. If anyone else does, let me know. Old business, National GTO Convention. The gentleman will be here on the 21st. Along with that, we will have another large potential convention that is coming, that wants to come to the city, that will be here that night to present as well. It's a huge outdoor fishing expo. Should be a pretty good one as well. So look forward to that. Any other old business?
Yeah, I have one thing.
Yes, sir?
I know people aren't gonna be happy to hear it, but I'm just wondering how things change once we vote on stuff, and by the next meeting, it's different.
I need an example of,
Like, Linkmeyer stuff. We voted, not, do any adjustments and move forward with the, foreclosure, and today now, we're working on, some kind of agreement with him.
no, what was agreed upon was, if you recall, is they asked for the opportunity to present their presentation the same way that the Maxwell Group did. That was what was granted. It had nothing to do with the litigation.
It's coming off the litigation was what their presentation was saying.
Well, I mean, that's going to be
Okay,
up to you guys. That's going to be up to you guys to
Okay.
decide. All they wanted was the same shot that
Okay,
Maxwell
that's
had.
fine then.
That's the reason.
Okay.
I've got something I'd like to make a request on. I think won't spend too much time on it. But I think we need a letter sent to the owners of the Riverwatch, asking them to haul the barge off.
Mr. Seymour, I thought we were going to do that in Board of Works, but I've got the paper here. You want to show our lawyer to
I think we need to.
see why we need to do that.
Well, I just think this needs to be official and on record, and we need to have record that, hey, we don't agree with this. I don't think we need to, I know we got a meeting scheduled, and I'm tickled to death we do, and I don't want to talk about it any, but I would like the lawyers to put together a nice demanding letter of what we expect of him to what that barge is.
I would suggest that we try to get that drafted tomorrow then.
We need to get it. He's up.
Supposedly, yeah, we're going to get a visit here Monday. Right.
14th, I think.
That's Monday.
It says in one of these.
That's Monday. I 100% agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to have, well, when are we going to have this meeting on this? Because
21st?
21st?
On that list there.
Okay.
It's on the
Other
list.
things I have.
On that, or do you have something else I need to add to it?
No, just, no, we need the barge out of there now.
Yeah, right.
Or
the
we lose
other
our
thing.
permit.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
But there's other things with that, concerns that.
You're right. You're right. You want that in the form of a motion then, to draft this letter?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we send an effective letter to let him know where we stand on this house that he's moved in on our property, and we didn't get talked to at all.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Weldon's out of town. Who's the most knowledgeable on this that I can talk to about it tomorrow?
You can talk to me. We'll draft it pretty
Okay, I just,
sternly,
good to me.
unless somebody else wants to be a part.
I mean, if you want somebody to talk to, there's a contact number on that email there.
Oh, the person you mean to talk about? Yeah. Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I think he's out of town till next week. He's in Memphis.
We'll get the letter drafted then.
It'll be in
All
there.
right. That's the first step anyway. Okay, no other old business? Comments from the audience?
Sit down, Rick. You had your shot.
There you go.
All right. I do need a motion to approve the advance payment we have tonight for approval, and that was for, help me out, Suzanne?
Brett Michaels, his final payment
That was out of the Fall Fest.
for Fall Fest.
Hasn't even played yet.
Yeah.
all your
That's what you get for getting those divas.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Hey, it could have been Tony and karaoke.
Yeah. That cost you.
Anyway, I need a motion to approve that prepayment, early payment. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Also taking a motion to approve the claims. So moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. Thanks. You say that every time I come.
Can you pass this on to?
I can.
Thank you.
I got a mediation in the morning,
Thanks.
so. Go in there and measure the temperature of every apartment in there.